include what?
Reading,
everything. Reading, social studies, writing. What we're focusing on today mostly is the reading part. All right, we're going to read and record informational text systematically. We're reading information, we're recording. Pretty simple, right? Next thing, evaluate the validity and reliability of sources. Now, those are big words, but we talked about evaluate. What does evaluate mean? Matthew? To test. To test it to see if it's true. To test it to see if it works. To test it to see how good it is. All right, what about validity? We talked about what validity means. Can somebody shoot me a word? Validity.
Valid.
It's valid. What does valid mean?
True.
True. Correct. Legal.
Within the law.
It's within the law. So if we are evaluating validity, we're checking to see if this information we're reading is true, within the law, correct. All those things that you guys just threw out at me, we're checking the validity. Is it true? Then we're also going to see how reliable it is. Is it reliable? How do we know if something's reliable? You can depend on it. Mackenzie.
Provides what's needed.
It provides what you need. They're reliable. They'll give me what I need. It's accurate. I don't want to depend on somebody who's going to give me false information. They're not reliable. The reliable information is accurate.
You can trust them.
You can trust it. Gracie?
Believe
Believe in it. Okay. So we're looking for sources that are valid and they're reliable. Then we're going to develop a valid argument. Valid. True. There's that word again. A valid argument. It's a true argument. It's based on truth. You're going to be able to argue. Argue, that can be good sometimes, to have an argument with someone. You're basically just discussing your opinion, is what that really means. We're going to write an opinion piece. It will include those things, and when we get to the writing part, we'll talk about those things. So what we're going to focus on today is basically the reading part. Now the social studies part, we're focusing right here on the bottom one. This one, investigating causes of failure and success of early settlements. And then we're going to draw conclusions on what killed the Jamestown settlers. So we're taking reading and social studies, combining it today. Now, as far as the learning goal, I kind of explained how the learning goal is different. And I went ahead, I know it's hard to read the learning goal up here, so I made some copies for you. Everybody look at the one that has the one finger. Your goal yesterday, the day before, today, your goal is either to be a 1 or a 2. Our goal by next Thursday or Friday is to be a what? A 3 or a 4. So let's look at number 1. Number 1 says, with help, I can read and record informational text, evaluate the validity of sources, and develop a valid argument. That means right now, today, what I do, I can do it with Mrs. Johnson's help or with a buddy's help. I can read this article, I can record, and I can come up with a good reason as to why the colonists were killed. And tell me the why. They were killed by Indians because they were coming into their land. So you're giving me an argument and you're validating it. You're giving me truth about it. Or are you a 2? Look at number 2. Read it with me. On my own, I can read and record informational text, evaluate the validity of sources, and develop a valid argument. It's the same thing as number 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there's one difference. What's the difference, Jeremy? On your own. On your own, you can do what we do today. You don't need Mrs. Johnson's assistance, or you don't need a partner's help. You can do it on your own. I looked at what you recorded yesterday. Some of you were at a 1. Some of you were at a 2. And that's about where you should be. Let's go ahead, though, and look at 3 because we want to look at where we want to go. So let's look at number 3. Read it with me. On my own, I can read and record informational text, evaluate the validity of sources, and develop a valid argument.
And write an opinion piece, 3 to 4
Paragraph that includes facts and relevant details, logical sequence, and conclusion. Okay, you see the main difference between the 2 and the 3?
Yeah.
What's the 3 doing?
What's the writing?
Talks about writing. I can take the number 2 that I've learned, and now I could write an essay, a short essay, 3 to 4 paragraphs. I could give you a main reason why those colonists were killed, and I can give you some facts to support it. Now look at the number 4. Read it with me. On my own, I can read
and record informational text, evaluate the validity of sources, develop a valid argument, and write an opinion piece, 5 paragraphs that include facts and relevant details, logical sequence, and conclusion.
Okay, what's the difference between a 4 and a 5?
It's 5 paragraphs.
Okay, a 5-paragraph essay. That means maybe you think there's more than one cause that caused the colonists to die. And in actuality, a lot of people believe it was more than just one factor. So maybe you have understood this enough to where you can see that maybe it just wasn't the Indians, maybe it was the Spanish and the Indians. Maybe it was a combination of things that caused those colonists to die. So if you were a 4, you would be able to give me several arguments, several reasons, and then the why. So your goal is to be actually a 4. But is that goal going to happen today?
No.
No. We're going to, as we get more information, you're going to be able to reach that goal. All right, set that aside for a minute.